Hi, welcome to video number 2 in the Embrace Birth series. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about what makes us afraid of birth and how to start shifting the mindset around that. And it might be different for some people, but most often people are afraid of the pain that they're going to experience in birth and labor. And I'm here to tell you that you can reframe it. I know there's been a lot of things that people have done that hurt, did not feel great, and they didn't run from it. A lot of people run through it. Runners tend to chase if they get to the point where they feel like they're hitting a wall and it's painful, it hurts. If you're running and pushing yourself as hard as you can and then you keep going, then you feel amazing. Like, yeah, it's hard to get to that point, but you feel awesome. Like, there are people who absolutely love running. I love running too. My knees don't always love running, but I love running. And it's just that feeling of accomplishment, and it's the pushing through, it's the adrenaline, it is all of those things. And with labor and birth, it's not just running. It's this big giant event, and there's a lot of emotion behind it aside from just like crossing the finish line. Um, whether you're choosing to be medicated or unmedicated, it's a big thing. Like, birth is powerful in so many ways, even no matter what direction your parenthood journey or your pregnancy journey has gone on. This is a rite of passage, and it is a new beginning as well as an ending. And if you realize that, yes, you might experience pain, but you are not pain. You're still you, and the pain is just an experience. If we can shift out of like fighting it and going against it, and then just move out of the way and let the pain just flow through you, then we'll be good. And I mean, even and if you're not experiencing this pain yet, don't label it as such. Like, you can experience this as pressure, as, or just think of it as contractions. It's intense. It's really intense. It is the most intense thing. And it doesn't, like, it doesn't remove you. You're still the one experiencing this experience. So it can't be bigger than you, even though it feels like it sometimes. That's why it's really helpful to have a doula, or even just have your partner or someone that can be, sorry, there's something on me. Someone that can be like grounding to you if you tend to get really caught up in your head. Drop it down to heart. Feel your feet on the ground and be present with right now. When you run from your contractions and you're sitting in that fear, and if your loved ones notice and like, hey, you're getting kind of flighty, figure out a way to remind yourself or have them remind you to be present. It won't last forever. Take it one contraction at a time. I think it can be very easy to start panicking about, oh, well, if I'm in this contraction or I'm only 4 centimeters dilated to whatever the number, the arbitrary number is, because who knows how fast you're going to dilate. It's about so much more than just the number of dilation. Like, your body is doing it, and if you're in labor, your body is getting ready to have this baby. And the more you can open up your heart and release the fear and just let whatever comes come. If you feel like crying, it's okay. Crying is great in labor. It is something that's super opening, and it can be really helpful. Um, Hugs, cuddles, anything that releases that oxytocin, just be in that and surrender. Surrender is the biggest thing about birth. You're constantly in a state of, okay, like, what am I going to do? And then, like, feeling like you have to figure something out. And I can speak for myself. Like, even so, in the beginning of my active labor stage of my, I say that with quotation marks because I had prodromal labor for a hot minute. And I don't know at what point I was in active labor because my early labor kind of seamlessly flowed into it, but I had been having active labor contractions for a long time. But once we got it going, um, I was still in the beginning. I wasn't hurting because I really truly didn't experience pain with this, but I did feel like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I would freak out for half a second and then call my team to do counter pressure or like just put their hands on me in some way. And it's because I was still kind of running from it a little bit and not really sure. But once I was just like, all right, just like let them come. I changed the way that I was coping with them in like focusing. Um and it can be different from for everybody, really. Like you could have all of these things. Okay, I have this I'm going to use. I have these essential oils and I have this whole team. You have no idea what you're going to want to use in labor. You could be like having all these things and you want nothing but darkness and quiet, and that's what works for you. Being open is just it, just surrendering to what will be. And sometimes that looks like, okay, I thought I was going to want this support the whole time, and now please don't touch me. Don't touch me. And anyone who's in the room with the birthing person, don't take it personally if they tell you to stop something very, very abruptly. Just listen and love. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing this series. I have some clients that are due, and I'm going to be doing this series a little bit more rough in the beginning, and this will be at the discounted rate, and then I'm going to master it in the next month or two and actually record it at a studio instead of in my living room with some curtains. But I promise I'm going to share with you some nuggets. I have a transformational training background, and so I can help you really pinpoint the phrases and the fact that the way you think about birth and labor, it really frames your whole experience. And it is all a matter of perspective. If you like are excited, like, okay, like each one of these contractions, like I'm just bring it on because it's gonna happen. It's inevitable. The birth of your baby is inevitable. Like it's happening. It's going to happen. And you can either fight it and be in resistance to it, which when you're pushing on something and you're creating that resistance, it's hard. It's hard on both sides. Like you got to work harder to push from both angles. But if you just move out of the way, it can just go. Um, that is true for like all of life. If you keep if you what you resist persists, that's a thing. If you're resisting the pain and you're resisting the experience that you're having, like you're gonna have a harder time because you're not just letting it happen, not letting it flow through you. So that is part of the things that I have taken away from transformational trainings, and it it works in labor and in life, and I'm committed to helping people see that they don't have to suffer through labor. It's this amazing thing and it's hard. It is hard work and it's amazing. And when you're done with it, you're going to be like, wow, I did that. Yes, you did. And it's not just about labor and birth. Like, you did the whole pregnancy too. It's hard work. All of it is hard work. And I'm proud of you. Even if you haven't had your baby yet, I'm proud of you because you're going to do it. And you're taking steps to learn and grow. And there's a lot of opportunity for internal work through this experience that is birth. It's a very transformational and healing experience. if you put in the work beforehand. I mean, even if you don't put the work in beforehand, but sometimes if you don't put the work in beforehand and educate yourself, you might not feel empowered in your birth situation. So it's good to have the work beforehand, even if it's not necessarily like internal work. Educate yourself. Learn as much as you can about what could happen in birth and in labor and in the birthplace that you've picked and with your providers. Figure out how to stand up for yourself. Hire a doula if you haven't hired a doula already. And if you haven't thought about birth photography, think about it. It is like absolutely, I'm going to cry. It's life changing to have those photos and you don't think so. And then you look at them and you're like, wow, how did I miss that? And someone else saw that moment and now you have it forever. But, anyways, I will be posting many more of these videos, and on the next round, they will be a little bit more professional. But happy birthing, and message me if you have any questions.